अस्सलाम वालेकुम नाजरीन, आप देख रहे हैं प्रोग्राम एतराज़ है। मैं हूं आदिल अब्बासी। पाकिस्तानी सियासत और इससे मुताल्लिक जो मामलात हैं उसमें भौचाल जारी रहता है। गुज़िश्ता चंद दिनों से ब्रॉडशीट का मामला जो हमारे सामने आया है, जो प्लंडर्ड मनी की बात हो रही है, जो लूटा गया पैसा है पाकिस्तान का, उस पर हलचल मची हुई है। हुकूमत की तरफ से बयानात, अपोजिशन की तरफ से बयानात, हटना पीछे आगे बढ़ना, ये जारी था सिलसिला। लेकिन जो बरतानवी कंपनी है और उसके सरबराह हैं, उनके हालिया बयानात की बाज़गश जो है वो अब पाकिस्तान में इस वक्त मौजूए बहस है हर तरफ। उन्होंने पाकिस्तान के जो अकाउंटेबिलिटी का इदारा है नैब, उसको जो है वो ब्लेम किया है, उसको भी कहा है कि उन्होंने धोखाधड़ी की है। साथ साथ हुकूमत से भी वो अपना क्लेम करते हैं, यानी हुकूमत पाकिस्तान से मुराद ये कि जो माजी में उनके कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स थे उसके ऊपर, और पाकिस्तान के साथ को खास सर्विसेज पाकिस्तान को नहीं दी गई, पाकिस्तान के साथ ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट डिसकंटिन्यू भी हुआ। बहरहाल इस तमाम कॉन्स्पायरेसी पर हमने बात करने के लिए जो है वो दावत दी है। हमारे साथ मौजूद होंगे हेड ऑफ ब्रॉडशीट, उनसे बात करेंगे कावे मूसवी। प्रोग्राम के दूसरे सेगमेंट में हमारे साथ होंगे डॉक्टर बाबर अवान साहब, मुशीर वज़ीर आज़म पाकिस्तान के पार्लिमानी उमूर के। लेकिन प्रोग्राम के पहले हिस्से में हम जरा इस मामले पर जो है वो गुफ्तगू करेंगे। सो we have with us Mr. Kaveh Moussavi, head of Broadsheet. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Moussavi. Could you please explain us who's the real owner of Broadsheet?
Broadsheet is a company in liquidation, so it doesn't have a CEO. So it's a misnomer to call it a CEO. At the moment, it's in liquidation, and the judge found that because of the fraud perpetrated on the company by the government of Pakistan, they didn't pay their bills, and the company went into liquidation. The company, having spent millions of dollars on pursuing the assets of thieves who had stolen money from Pakistan, Pakistan decided not to pay the company, so the company went into liquidation. So the owner at the moment is the a liquidation court in the Isle of Man.
You met a person named Anjum Butt. So what was his demands? What he said to you when he met you?
That's for the government of Pakistan to find out. I met him in 2012 and I have not seen him or heard from him. So I think it's a question better addressed to the government of Pakistan. Why haven't they not done any investigation on this?
Right. So I would ask you again, let me rephrase. What was his demands? What he said when he met you?
I think I've talked about this at least 29 times on different television stations, but I'll do it again. He offered to settle the case for $25 million, and we said it has to be settled through the courts, through the law, through lawyers. We're not prepared to do a back a deal behind the scenes. We're not prepared to do that because that would be effectively a bribe. Not prepared to do that.
Right. You also blamed Mr. Shahzad Akbar for not telling the truth. Why would he be spinning it? Can you please explain it?
Well, you better ask him why he's not telling the truth or why he's spinning. What I do know is that I met him, and the topic of my conversation was the $1 billion he should be investigating that had gone to Singapore, and we'd written about what he should be investigating are things like the attempt to suborn me and to corrupt the process of the investigation and or the new contract that we were discussing. His interest was like a bazaar merchant trying to haggle over a carpet, trying to save $2 million from the money that had been found by Broadsheet and returned to Pakistan. And he's spinning it as saying that he was trying to get a discount for Pakistan. Well, my answer to that is the best discount for Pakistan is to take the evidence that we've given and pursue the stolen money that we were doing. The best discount for Pakistan and the people of Pakistan is to investigate a crime which we had reported. The best way of approaching this job would be not to focus on haggling over $2 million, but to obey a court order. The credibility of the government of Pakistan depends on its credentials as a government that is law-abiding. And if it's agreed to be bound by law, and it's agreed to be bound by the decisions of the court, then it has to be bound by it. The courts are not the souk, they're not the bazaar. You go to court and you put your evidence and you comply with its orders. The government of Pakistan were not complying. This gentleman came not complying. The very fact that he came to discuss it, he calls it a settlement. You have a settlement before you have a legal action. You have a settlement before there's a judgment. You have a settlement before your application to the Court of Appeal has been dismissed. I mean, it's beneath contempt, the effort that he's making and spinning these things. We're talking about a fool here.
Right. There is another interesting character, Zafar Ali, in this whole saga. I would like to know that why he was approaching you.
He was just another intermediary who was unable to deliver what he promised, and he fell by the wayside. That's all. It's nothing sinister there. He made promises that he couldn't deliver on, and we called it a day.
So wasn't he a representative of Broadsheet?
No, he was not a representative of Broadsheet company. No.
So why did Broadsheet fail to deliver in 3 years of the contract? Because the claim of the Pakistani government is that you could not perform, your company could not perform. It wasn't up to the performance, wasn't up to the mark.
I'm sorry. The judge found that Broadsheet was sabotaged by NAB. Broadsheet was prevented from doing its work. Broadsheet was doing its work, and every time it gave information to NAB, it was leaked to the thieves and the crooks who were our targets. And often we had them sabotaging our efforts, and the judge so found. The judgment is confidential, but I have told it. I've said parts of it because it's come out in the media. Some people at NAB have leaked it. The judge says quite unambiguously that NAB and the government of Pakistan conspired to defraud Broadsheet. It's a bit rich to come 21 years after the contract to say, why didn't you pursue the 200 people? We were pursuing them, and the judge found that we were pursuing them very vigorously and very effectively, and that was the reason why we were removed, because we came too close to money and to the interests of the powerful people who've been thieving and plundering Pakistan for the last 70 years.
Right. According to the document, 1 billion was transferred to Singapore. Could you please tell us that who was the owner of that 1 billion?
We asked the government of Pakistan to investigate it, and they didn't. They ignored it completely. And when Shahzad Akbar came to me, I said to him, why have you done about this? He ignored the question. So that's a question you better put to them. We found the intelligence that this money has been wired, and we gave it to them, and as part of our good faith efforts to resolve the issues, and they did nothing about it. It's a bit rich for them to come and say today, why didn't you pursue? We did pursue it. We've got a written record of having alerted them to it. They did nothing about it. And I'm not going to speculate why. I think you can guess why.
Is there any political family who owns that money?
We stated explicitly that upon information and belief, this money has been sent to the order of Mr. Nawaz Sharif et al. We said that. And we asked them to investigate, or give us the authority to investigate this. We never heard back. And that should be a question that the people of Pakistan should reflect upon.
Right.
A credible company that the court had found had done its work very thoroughly, and the court made a serious award of damages, has brought that information to the government of Pakistan and has done nothing about it. It really should be addressed to them, not to me.
So who contacted you after Panama Papers from Pakistan?
After the Panama Papers. I'm not aware of anybody contacting us about after Panama Papers. We were in a court process. We weren't putting up with any contact. Every other day somebody would call and say they can settle this thing, but we began to laugh at that because we thought that NAB is a sieve. It's leaking like a sieve, and so we weren't taking any approaches seriously. We were in court. We had got an arbitral award, and we were moving towards the hearing on the quantum. We had no interest from anybody unless it was an official approach from the government of Pakistan. And although we did offer to settle the case, and on several occasions the law officers of Pakistan spoke to our lawyers and to myself, but we never got anywhere. They were talking about as though we hadn't won the award. They're talking about as though we hadn't won the lawsuit. And we tried to explain to them the basic principles of law, namely you talk about talks and about discussions and about settlement before you start an action. You don't talk about settlement after the action's been won. We'd won, and we got a court order. They appealed it, they lost, and they couldn't do it anymore. So they were starting to talk about settlement.
There is another question I would like to know, because you have claimed number of times that Pakistani government did not fulfill its commitment, what have made earlier. Why you want to strike a deal with Pakistan then? Why are you so interested to have a deal with Pakistani government again?
Look, this is a new government. It's not the government that did that, certainly. Firstly. Secondly, I'm interested in my real employer, which is the people of Pakistan. Governments come and go, but the poor people of Pakistan who are suffering the consequences of corruption, they deserve better than this. We believe we have frontiers of science, skills at finding stolen money. And we are prepared to offer our services on terms. Of course, we are not going to go into a contract with the government of Pakistan willy-nilly with our eyes closed. We've learned a bitter lesson not to trust them. And this time we will take all the necessary precautions. I haven't proposed to the government of Pakistan that we should come to have a deal. They now begin. This government is new. It's different. I sense it's different. It senses that we perform very credibly. Forget what that fool Shahzad Akbar is saying. All you got to do is read the judgment, and you'll see that he's misleading. He's deliberately misleading the people of Pakistan when he says we didn't perform. That's not what the judge said. That's not what the court said. They had the opportunity, and they spent something like $20 million with one of the world's top law firms to put their case, and the court dismissed their case. They said it's nonsense. For Shahzad Akbar to come and repeat that nonsense, which has been categorically dismissed by the court, is to mislead the people of Pakistan.
Right. Have you also investigated stolen money of other countries also, or you just set up this company? Was it only set up to inquire the stolen money of Pakistan?
This company was set up for Pakistan, for the purpose of Pakistan. We've had other operations in other countries in which we have been extremely successful. My battle with the government of Mexico over corruption exposed the loot that was taking place 10 years before I came into a contract with the government of Pakistan. It was my reputation as an indefatigable fighter against corruption that convinced the government of Pakistan to approach me and to talk to us. And that's what led to the various contracts. This company we wanted to keep it clean.
So who talked to you about kickbacks or commission here in Pakistan? Who was the part of that delegation you were talking about?
We made a full report to the government of Pakistan at the time. Immediately, within 10 minutes of the event, I reported it to our lawyers and instructed them to tell the government of Pakistan. And they did nothing about it. Nothing. And to this day, they've done nothing about it.
Right. Another question from people of Pakistan. They want to know, because some conspiracy has taken place after your interviews here. Who asked you to contact Asif Ali Zardari, the ex-president of Pakistan?
I'm sorry, I did not remain silent. I wrote immediately. The record has just been published. We did not remain silent. It's only come out into the public domain because somebody has leaked it. Please get your facts right before you put that question. We immediately,
Okay, let me rephrase my question. Who asked you to contact Asif Ali Zardari, ex-president of Pakistan? Specific question to you is, who contacted you?
I did not contact Asif Zardari. I'm sorry. They came and contacted us.
So who contacted you?
Senator Farouk Naik came to contact us. Mr. Raja, one of the sidekicks of Mr. Asif Zardari, and I met him at his house. And Zardari's white Rolls Royce was parked outside the house. We did not contact the Zardaris. We were engaged in arbitration efforts, and the Pakistani government had removed us. They sacked us, as the court said, illegally. They breached the contract, and the Zardaris went to us to see if they could buy us off. We weren't willing to be bought off.
Right. Towards the very end, I would like to know, what was Farouk H. Naik's demands when he met you or contacted you?
They want to settle this. They want to pay us so we go away. And we said we want to do this through the court process.
Right. Thank you. Kaveh Moussavi, head of Broadsheet, was with us for giving your precious time.
Fly with PIA and save gold. Register now. Scan QR code and register yourself to get gold and loyalty benefits.
Powered by ARY Sahulat Wallet.